Chapter 110. Chapter 110, Sword Shadows and Blade Lights Collide. This blade move, Su-Ru had almost had the Blackwater Lotus when she suddenly noticed the dazzling cold blade. It seemed it could split the heaven and the earth, and it was slashing directly toward her. This blade light made everyone shiver. Su-Ru's expression paled immediately. At the same time, she judged that the blade was aiming for her arm. If she continued reaching for the Blackwater Lotus, her entire arm would be chopped off. Her armor, the Blackwater Lotus, Su-Ru picked the former without hesitation. She retracted her hand as she retreated rapidly. Just as she drew back her hand, the gleaming cold blade light swept past where her arm had been. Swoosh! Chopping through the air, the blade light gradually faded away. However, a huge crack, dozens of meters long and half a meter wide, emerged across the surface of Quiet Moon Lake. It looked as if the lake had been split in half. Then, the water on both sides of the crack began flooding into the center. Whoosh! A nimble and unrestrained figure in cyan appeared abruptly and picked up the desired Blackwater Lotus with a simple stretch of his hand. Only later did people look at his gently smiling face. The whole Quiet Moon Lake turned still immediately. The high-rise water curtain had descended, and now all the people around Quiet Moon Lake could see the figure in cyan holding the Blackwater Lotus. Meanwhile, they also saw the huge crack that nearly tore the lake in two. Everyone looked awed at that moment. "Fourth sister, are you all right?" Jian Wushuang came to Su-Ru. "I'm fine," Su-Ru shook her head, but her face stiffened. "Is that him?" Jian Wushuang looked at him, too. The unrestrained man in cyan was the top expert he had paid so much attention to, Xiao Mang. Xiao Mang ranked 22nd on the Earthly Dragon list. Much higher than Jiyu Dao. There was no doubt his strength was more extraordinary. No one there, including Jiyu Dao, Ling Mubai, and the other experts on Earthly Dragon list, was confident enough to take on that glorious, yet extremely dreadful, blade move. Not without getting hurt anyway. Xiao Mang, Jiyu Dao gazed at Xiao Mang, and said with a grim face, "You've never comprehended essence of the water drop, and someone like you would never help others fight for the Blackwater Lotus. So the 7 Blackwater Lotus seeds should mean nothing to you." "You are right." Xiao Mang lifted his head a bit and glanced at Jiyu Dao, saying with a smile, "The 7 Black Lotus seeds do indeed mean nothing to me, so." As he spoke, Xiao Mang reached out and picked off the 7 seeds in the center of the lotus, then released his grip in front of the astonished crowd. The 7 Black Lotus seeds dropped into the lake down below. All the gold core warriors there were speechless. Getting the Blackwater Lotus using overpowering strength, then throwing away the most precious part, the lotus seeds, into the water. Xiao Mang obviously had no interest in the 7 seeds. "The seeds are of no use to me, but I can benefit a lot from the Blackwater Lotus. So I'll be taking the lotus. Anyone got a problem?" Xiao Mang said, as he looking around. Hearing what Xiao Mang said, everyone was elated. He only wants the lotus instead of the seeds. Jiyu Dao, Ling Mubai, and other experts on the Earthly Dragon list were surprised. The seeds of the Blackwater Lotus were helpful for comprehending essence of the water drop, but the flower itself could hardly be put to use. So the flower could not attract any of the gold core warriors there. "Xiao Mang, you may leave now, since you have the Blackwater Lotus," Jiyu Dao said bluntly. "Right, you can leave. We will not stop you," said Ling Mubai and other experts on Earthly Dragon list. Xiao Mang nodded, and turned around slowly under everyone's gaze, but suddenly, whoosh, whoosh, 2 figures blocked his way. They were Jian Wushuang and Su-Ru. Jian Wushuang stared at Xiao Mang and spoke to him, half smiling. However, his calm and cold words made the atmosphere tense up again. "Sorry, I also have no interest in the seeds, but I have to take the Blackwater Lotus." What Jian Wushuang said startled everyone around Quiet Moon Lake. What's that boy trying to do? Who is he? How dare he stop Xiao Mang? Someone in the initial gold core realm dares to stop Xiao Mang? And he even said he wanted the Blackwater Lotus too? Does he want to die? A majority of the gold core warriors there thought Jian Wushuang was insane. While those who had fought with Jian Wushuang in the water curtain were wearing a strange expression. This boy, Jiyu Dao frowned and took a look at Jian Wushuang, whom he had just encountered. Although Jian Wushuang was just in the initial gold core realm, his strength was way beyond his realm. Jian Wushuang was calm, no matter how people stared at him. He didn't know why Xiao Mang also wanted the black water lotus, but he knew he had to win it back for Su Ru. Initial gold core realm? Xiao Mang raised his head and took a look at Jian Wushuang without saying anything, but he suddenly unsheathed the saber on his back. Swoosh! Blade light burst out again, still cold and dazzling. The overwhelming blade light slashed forward with irresistible force. Everybody stared at the blade light in astonishment. It was this blade flash that had nearly split the whole Quiet Moon Lake in half. What a dreadful blade light! Even Jiyu Dao, Ling Mubai, and other experts could not help feeling frightened the moment they saw it. While the blade light slashed towards him, Jian Wushuang still looked calm as ever. But, in the next second, he drew his sword out from the sheath. Supreme Gold Core, a power that was 100 times stronger than the initial Gold Core realm, exploded in an instant. Formless sword wave, 10th move. Boom. The air was instantly split wherever that terrifying sword shadow directly passed. Right away, all the Gold Core warriors around felt like a majestic huge mountain was pressing down on them from the sword, and the heavy load made them unable to breathe. The heaven and the earth was overshadowed by the majestic sword shadow. The sword shadow slashed forward at an incredible speed, splitting the water in the lake as it passed. Swoosh! Swoosh! In a blink of an eye, two enormous waves were lifted on both sides of the sword shadow. The next moment, the mighty sword shadow crashed with the cold shining blade light. It seemed like two different worlds collided. The heavens split and the earth cracked. Chapter 111. Chapter 111, Jian Wushuang vs Xiao Mang. Bang! A thundering explosion was heard. The fierce collision caused the still water on Quiet Moon Lake to splash upward by several feet high instantly, together with the endless shower droplets and snowflakes. The risen water was like a tsunami, gurgling tilde and rushing towards the surrounding areas directly and violently. Step back. Step back immediately. A large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm on the lake were shocked and they were seen to step back immediately one by one. After the waves finally subsided, the present warriors of the Gold Core realm that had been drenched looked at the lake again, and this shocked them. The center of Quiet Moon Lake had become a depression of several meters depth, like a sinkhole. In the center of the sinkhole, two figures were battling over a distance of tens of meters. Around them, within 100 meters, there was not even a single figure. Everyone had been knocked back by that fierce collision. It was silent. The whole Quiet Moon Lake turned to silent immediately. In this silence, many eyes turned towards Jian Wushuang. Isn't it amazing that he was able to block that? He blocked that saber from Xiao Mang? What's more, he didn't even step back. Is he evenly matched with Xiao Mang? Everybody was shocked. They couldn't believe that just an initial Gold Core realm like him was able to block the saber from Xiao Mang and be his match. Gradually, the center of the depression was filled with water. Xiao Mang still appeared to be relaxed, but at this moment, he was quite astonished. Interesting. Xiao Mang looked at Jian Wushuang with a subtle smile. It seems that if I want to take away the Blackwater Lotus today, I have to work harder. I'm also determined to win the Blackwater Lotus, so if you want to get it, you have to get through me. But I'm sure that you can't get through me, said Jian Wushuang coldly. You are so confident. In his eyes, Xiao Mang showed great interest. Then he glanced at the surroundings and said while shaking his head, there are too many people here. If we fight with each other here, I'm afraid that it will be difficult for us to show our real strength. How about having the competition over there? Xiao Mang pointed to a lofty mountain nearby and laughed. Jian Wushuang took a look of the mountain and nodded slightly. Okay. Haha, then follow me. Xiao Mang laughed, and they rushed toward the mountain directly. Larosai, you stay here, Jian Wushuang warned Su Ru. Don't worry, I promise to get the Blackwater Lotus back. Then Jian Wushuang also rushed to the mountain directly. Be careful, Su Ru reminded him, but Jian Wushuang was already out of her sight. On the Quiet Moon Lake, a large number of warriors of the Gold Core realm were still in shock. Who is that guy? Is he only at the level of initial gold core realm? It's too amazing, the power of that confrontation was too intense. There is no doubt that Xiao Mang possesses great strength. After all, he's established. But it's incredible that an initial gold core realm with a sword is evenly matched with Xiao Mang. Many warriors of the gold core realm were talking about that. Suddenly, Jiyu Dao, who stood on the water before, dived into the lake. Many people around were aware of this. Gosh! Black water lotus seeds. Damn it! Vie for it quickly. Black water lotus seeds in the water. Vie for it quickly. A large number of warriors of the gold core realm on the surface of water responded immediately. A crowd of warriors dived into the lake subsequently. Remember, Xiao Mang won the black water lotus just now, but he threw 7 lotus seeds into lake casually. Although it had been a while, 7 lotus seeds must be in the water. As black water lotus seeds had a unique fragrance, it was not difficult to find them. Soon, the first black water lotus seed was found. Immediately, a fierce slaughter erupted after the seed was found. When almost every warrior dived into lake water to search for the black lotus seeds, on the lake, there was a girl in black named Su Ru staring at that lofty mountain with her dark eyes. Lao-san. There was a little worry in the eyes of Su Ru. She wasn't worried about whether Jian Wushuang could bring the Blackwater Lotus back to her or not, but worried for the safety of Jian Wushuang. After all, the man that Jian Wushuang was fighting with was Xiao Mang, who was ranked the 22nd on the Earthly Dragon list. And Xiao Mang had become famous on the Earth Dragon list for so many years, and during these years, he seldom fought with others, which was the reason why he was still ranked around the 20s. But as for his real strength, who knew? I hope Laro-san can really match up with Xiao Mang. Even if he can't, as long as he survives, it will be fine. With a cold expression, Su Ru glanced at the lake underfoot, and the next moment, she also dived into the water directly to participate in the competition for black water lotus seeds. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 figures rapidly darted in the jungle one after another. After a while, both of them appeared at the top of the mountain where boulders were found everywhere. It could be called a boulders forest. At a distance of about 10 meters, Jian Wushuang and Xiao Mang stood on different boulders, staring at each other. Until now, I don't know your name, Xiao Mang said. Swordsman from Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang answered. Disciple of Dragon Palace? Xiao Mang raised his brow. Well, as expected. Only the legendary disciples of Dragon Palace are able to block me while at initial Gold Core Realm. But, you should know that I didn't try my best just now, said Xiao Mang. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then he added, coincidentally, I didn't do my best, either. Haha, this is much more interesting, Xiao Mang grinned, then he took out the Blackwater Lotus and put it into the interspatial ring in front of Jian Wushuang. After that, Xiao Mang threw it aside casually. The interspatial ring flew in a streak, like a concealed weapon's given its rapid speed. It hit a tree at the edge of mountaintop. Due to the force of the throw, it became deeply embedded in the trunk. The Blackwater Lotus is in the interspatial ring. After the battle, the winner can take it away, said Xiao Mang. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded, with a strong battle intent rising in his eyes. The similar desire to battle sparkled in the eyes of Xiao Mang. His blood had been still for a long time, but it started to boil at this moment. Chapter 112. Chapter 112, End of the Battle. Haha, watch out. Xiao Mang roared and brought his leg crashing down. The huge rock underneath him instantly scattered into pieces. He crossed over the huge rocks at lightning speed like a ghost and showed up in front of Jian Wushuang in a blink of an eye. Then he quickly unsheathed his saber. The untouchable astonishing knife essence fiercely gushed out, leaving Jian Wushuang almost breathless. And then, swoosh! A shining stroke covered the bright sky suddenly, slashing toward Jian Wushuang immediately. The air was cut apart. The blade flash hadn't even arrived, yet a lethal wind overwhelmed him. Jian Wushuang turned solemn as he realized that the essence in that single stroke of Xiao Mang was already at the 10th level of the Dragon Gate. Just come on, Jian Wushuang shouted, brandishing the triple kill sword from his hand. In a moment the Earth Sword essence reached its extreme and the 10th move of Formless Sword Wave burst out. Meanwhile, his power of the Supreme Golden Pill Realm climbed to the peak too. Bang! After a tremendous sound, Jian Wushuang felt that his arm was pushed down and his hand was numb. The huge rock under him had cracked because of the impact of the two terrible forces. If I battle him head-on, I will lose. Jian Wushuang suddenly became clearly aware of this. Haha, as an initial completion of the Golden Pill Realm you're actually weaker than me. Xiao Mang sneered at him. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. Despite my Supreme Golden Pill Realm being in defiance of the natural order, which is even stronger than the normal fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm, Xiao Mang is at the level of top fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm and his force of spiritual power is at the peak of Golden Pill Realm. Based on power, he's stronger than me. A newly broken through initial completion of the Golden Pill Realm, whose power was stronger than the normal fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm. This was already incredible and would frighten many people. Jian Wushuang was well aware of this. After all, Xiao Mang had reached the peak of fulfillment of the Golden Pill Realm. Jian Wushuang needed to reach at least the top initial completion of the Golden Pill Realm to compete him with power. It's tough to fight against him directly, but I can defeat him with my swordsmanship and sword essence. Jian Wushuang's eyes became colder and he lifted his long sword. Turning into a viper suddenly, the sword circumvented Xiao Mang's saber and weirdly stabbed towards Xiao Mang's chest. Gale Essence Realm? Xiao Mang felt surprised. His left hand gathered his mighty spiritual power and slapped quickly at the approaching sword shadow. It didn't entirely stop the attack of Jian Wushuang, but deflected his sword essence. The sword shadow passed beside Xiao Mang and failed to connect. Take my stroke. Xiao Mang growled, his hand clenched the saber and chopped it down with anger in an unbelievably domineering fashion. Jian Wushuang used a backhand stroke to withstand it. Bang! The huge rock under Jian Wushuang thoroughly scattered into pieces, as if concealed weapons had bombarded the surrounding rock. Moreover, Jian Wushuang was pushed back by this stroke. Without thinking, Jian Wushuang charged forward and there was a raspy sound of wind and the temperature rapidly rose. Sword skill of blood and fire, 6th move. Swoosh! The sharp and rapid sword light cleaved down and seemed to tear the world apart. Before it was the earth sword essence, just now it was the sword essence of Gale, and now it's the sword essence of raging fire. All with deep comprehension. Even Xiao Mang couldn't help being frightened after watching Jian Wushuang use these moves, including his sword essence of raging fire. I've known that the disciples of Dragon Palace are the eccentric geniuses, but never realized that they're such geniuses to comprehend 3 sword essences at the same time and all to this high level. Xiao Mang was in shock. However, he parried with his saber and easily resisted the sword skill of blood and fire. Any of the 3 sword essences I've comprehended can't compare with your gusty wind essence realm, but it's enough to overcome you if I use them well. Jian Wushuang said. Haha, then just give a try. Xiao Mang laughed, looking amused. Boom. The terrifying roar continued and the battle arrived at a key moment. At the same time, while Jian Wushuang was fighting with Xiao Mang, the battle for the Blackwater Lotus Seeds at the Quiet Moon Lake was approaching the end as well. The warriors stood on the lake and there were the dead bodies floating all around, at least more than 100. The blood dyed the Quiet Moon Lake red, which made it look like a scene of demonic hell. Seeing this, most of the surviving warriors of the Golden Pill Realm were terrified. Their desire for Blackwater Lotus Seeds was reduced. How tragic. This bloody battle couldn't be more violent. The majority of warriors of the Golden Pill Realm were dead, even 2 members on the Earth Dragon list were killed. The 2 dead warriors on the list turned out to be Ling Mubai and Fire Lion. Fire Lion was undoubtedly killed by Jiyu Dao, while it was Su Ru who killed Ling Mubai. This girl, Jiyu Dao, stood on the lake, looking at the black-robed girl in front of him with fear. The black-robed girl looked quite young, just about 15 or 16 years old, and her cultivation of spiritual power only reached the profound gold core realm. But this young girl suddenly erupted with an amazing power, killing Ling Mubai in a flash and grabbing a Blackwater Lotus Seed. At this moment, the Quiet Moon Lake returned to peace. The other warriors all escaped as soon as they carried off the Blackwater Lotus Seeds, except Jiyu Dao and Su Ru, who rather stayed behind. Aware that the seeds were held by Jiyu Dao and Su Ru, none of the warriors of the Golden Pill realm around would dare to take any action. Without doubt, Jiyu Dao's strength was the best amongst them. The fact that he had killed Fire Lion clearly proved his strength, ranking 39 on the Earth Dragon list. It was only a fantasy to be able to seize the Blackwater Lotus Seed from him. Even if the warriors of the Golden Pill realm fought together, Jiyu Dao could just run away if he was losing. But Su Ru, although she looked quite weak, had killed Ling Mubai, which is extremely frightening. Even Jiyu Dao didn't dare to fight against Su Ru. 7 Blackwater Lotus Seeds and I only attained 2. This girl kept the left one, but I can't look down on her. Jiyu Dao shook his head and gave up thoughts of grabbing the Blackwater Lotus Seed from Su Ru. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm around didn't have the courage to start a battle with her, either. Therefore this severe battle finally came to an end. Chapter 113. Chapter 113, Spotlight. The fight for the Blackwater Lotus Seeds was over. The 7 seeds had their owners. The face of those people who couldn't get it looked bleak. Damn. I almost got it. I paid such a high price to hire you for these Blackwater Lotus Seeds, but none of you succeeded. Why did I hire you? You all are good for nothing. Fortunately, although I didn't get any Blackwater Lotus Seeds, at least I am still alive, which is better than those who died. It's tragic. Too many people died. If I had rushed to the forefront, I am afraid that I would have been one of the corpses. The different survivors felt various emotions, ranging from anger, annoyance, and some secretly grateful. Anyway, this fight was over. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm here could relax. But at this moment, bang! Suddenly, a terrible deafening roar came from nearby. Everyone immediately turned around and looked over. At the peak of the nearby majestic mountain, 2 different terrifying spiritual powers were colliding furiously. The world was roaring and the earth was trembling. The ruptured gravel rolled down from the peak of the mountain like raindrops. Smash! It seemed like an apocalypse. The warriors of the Golden Pill realm standing near the quiet moon lake were shocked, and then the crowd stirred immediately. It's Xiao Mang and that black-robed swordsman whose level was at the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm. They are still fighting. How long has this been? There is still no winner between them. Come on, let's go and watch. Haha, the contest between 2 powerhouses. Hurry up. Hurry. All the people became excited with fiery eyes and they moved to that majestic mountain. Third brother, Su Ru said and stared at that mountain. She then moved toward it quickly without any hesitation. Xiao Mang and that boy of the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm, they could fight for such a long time? Jiyu Dao thought. A gleam of a surprise entered his eyes, he clenched his teeth, rushing over. At the quiet moon lake, all those warriors, no matter how they arrived, alone or hired, were crazy about this fight which was happening at the mountain peak. Those hired guns ignored the wishes of their employers. At that moment, a large number of warriors of the Golden Pill realm were swarming towards the peak of the mountain like bees. But after they appeared on the top of the mountain, all of them were shocked by the scene before their eyes. The ground there had crumbled into potholes, littered with piles of rubble and a series of giant sword scars or knife marks which demonstrated the overwhelming spiritual power. The original stone forest here was already gone, just leaving some stark rocks. Suddenly, a dazzlingly cold blade flashed towards Jian Wushuang with fury. As the blade flashes target, Jiu Wushuang dodged the attack by swerving his body. Then the blade chopped into the stone below his feet. Shua. The human-height rock was split into 2 parts just like tofu after contact with the blade. Immediately, the rock shattered apart. Peng! After splitting the rock, the blade didn't stop, it kept moving towards the ground with the same force. In a moment, a horrible deep chasm emerged, 3 or 4 meters across with rubble flying everywhere. Oh, God! The spectators were stunned. Chew! At the sound, a sword shadow pierced the void, moving quickly towards Xiao Mang. Xiao Mang evaded immediately. Thus, the long sword of Jian Wushuang stabbed into the stone wall behind Xiao Mang with a buzzing sound. The central stone of that wall was smashed into pieces directly by this attack. At the same time, A spiral hole which was 1 meter deep appeared on that wall. This hole covered the entire surface of the stone wall, which made people feel like the half of the stone disappeared entirely. The visiting warriors of the Golden Pill realm went silent after seeing this. Even the strongest warriors in the crowd, Jiyu Dao, when he saw what had happened here, swallowed unintentionally. God! What a terrifying power! Can anyone resist their attack? Jiyu Dao thought. Was it possible that someone could smash the gigantic rock with one slash and produce such a deep crack in the ground, or impale the large rock with a thrust while destroying all those stones and obliterating the other half? That was unbelievable. Are they just at the Golden Pill realm? Warriors of the Golden Pill realm? It's impossible. Everyone kept their eyes wide with the very strange expression, especially those guys whose cultivation was already at the profound Gold Core realm or the exceptional Gold Core realm. Remember, one of the two guys was just at the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm, which was lower than anyone else here. The wind's roaring, Xiao Mang was hidden in the wind but reappeared anywhere randomly. At the same time, Jian Wushuang kept dodging flexibly, avoiding the attacks. The spectators could only hear the horrible, violent thuds over and over again, and watch the destruction of the rocks. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang stopped moving, staring at Xiao Mang with his gleaming eyes. Xiao Mang's expression became serious at that moment. He didn't care about this battle at the beginning. After all, he was confident about his strength, not to mention that his realm was at the consummation of the Golden Pill while Jian Wushuang was just at the initial completion of the Golden Pill realm. But during their fight, he found out that this initial completion guy was scarier than he thought. Xiao Mang, is that your actual strength? Jian Wushuang asked with a loud voice. You are really great, you deserve to be the 22nd in the Earth Dragon list. But I will win that Blackwater Lotus. The temperature rose immediately and then a substantial red blast formed, followed by Jian Wushuang's sword shadow. The flames which covered the sky arrived at the same time. Xiao Mang brandished his saber quickly and then the flames were split up. Seeing that, a gleaming light flashed from Jian Wushuang's eyes. Then a dim shadow of the giant sword chopped again. But this time, what had changed, was the inconceivable and capricious formless swordsmanship. The perfect transformation of the 3 sword essences, including Gusty Wind Sword Essence, the Earth Sword Essence and the Raging Fire Sword Essence, displayed the real strength of Jian Wushuang. He's too strong. Who's he? I have never known this black-robed swordsman. How can his strength be so marvelous? He grasps 3 sword essences with such deep insight at the same time. Oh, my God. Though Xiao Mang is strong, he's just good at the essence of Gusty Wind, while his opponent simultaneously grasps 3 essences. If these 3 sword essences can be transformed perfectly, it would be flawless. Many warriors were in awe. Comprehending 3 sword essences at the same time was an inconceivable matter in their eyes, but Jian Wushuang did it. Chapter 114. Chapter 114, Victory and Defeat. Humits the terrifying unbridled sword shadows. Sometimes they were majestic, and sometimes they were ethereal, while sometimes they were violent. The 3 sword essences fused into a perfect transformation. It was so unusual that nobody could deal with it, not even Xiao Mang. Although Xiao Mang was ranked 22nd on the Earth Dragon list due to his amazing saber play, he could only break through the 10th level of Dragon Gate with his Gale Sword Essence. However, with the perfect transformation of the 3 sword essences, Jian Wushuang was able to break through the 11th level. Although there was only 1 level between the 10th and the 11th levels, the gap between them was like heaven and earth. If it was not because Xiao Mang was able to generate greater power than Jian Wushuang, he would have been defeated a long time ago. Look, Xiao Mang is going to be defeated. It's true. The black-dressed swordsman is too terrifying as he can transform the 3 sword essences perfectly. It is not because Xiao Mang is not strong enough. It is because the black-robed swordsman is too marvelous to control 3 sword essences at the same time, and what's more, he can understand them so well. It is my first time seeing such a thing. The warriors of the Gold Core realm, they were all amazed at the result. In the battlefield, Xiao Mang was going to be defeated. Xiao Mang, just give up. Came the voice of Jian Wushuang. Ha ha, give up. That will never happen in my life. There was a crazy look in Xiao Mang's eyes. Abruptly, the aura around Xiao Mang strengthened. His power improved immediately as he lashed out with his saber. He's putting up a desperate fight. It is unbelievable that Xiao Mang is forced to such desperation. The crowd around exclaimed. Seeing the angry blade flash with his surging power, Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank and he switched from offense to defense. Then he showed his reincarnation sword skill. Bang! 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 The continuing impacts generated air waves. The waves spread to the surroundings, which caused flying debris. Some of the debris hit the warriors of the Gold Core realm, and the strong winds roared, blowing on the Golden Pill warriors' clothes. It's useless. With a growl, Jian Wushuang lashed out with his triple kill sword. The sword edge slammed onto Xiao Mang's saber. An overpowering spiritual power erupted and Xiao Mang was repulsed immediately and finally he was slammed onto a great stone behind. Bang! The great stone was broken apart instantly. With blood spewing from his mouth, Xiao Mang walked slowly from the hollow stone. He looked up and stared at Jian Wushuang. Though there was still strong battle intent in his eyes, he clasped his hands together and the spiritual power around him faded away. He was defeated. Though Xiao Mang was reluctant to do so, he had to acknowledge that he was defeated. Jian Wushuang was able to transform the three sword essences perfectly, but it put him under too much pressure, so he had to struggle. But this kind of struggle consumed too much spiritual power, so after just a while, his spiritual power had been used up. Unlike Xiao Mang, the aura around Jian Wushuang was still strong and it seemed that his spiritual power hadn't been consumed at all after the fierce battle. Actually, Jian Wushuang's spiritual power had been mostly consumed, but it meant little to him. You know, when he had just reached transforming sea realm before, the ultimate spiritual sea possessed tremendous spiritual power. Though now he had broken through and reached supreme gold core realm, the ultimate spiritual sea was transformed to the gold core power and was no longer so large. It was still stronger than the ordinary gold core, at least it was 10 times that of ordinary warriors of the gold core realm. So after a fierce battle, Jian Wushuang's battle strength was still at its peak. Look, Xiao Mang is defeated. Although he tried his best, he was defeated. The warriors of the gold core realm around could tell that Xiao Mang had consumed all his spiritual power, so they couldn't help sighing and felt sorry for Xiao Mang. Though they felt sorry for Xiao Mang, they felt admiration for him. Yes, it was admiration. It was obvious that Xiao Mang had consumed all his spiritual power and wasn't able to fight anymore, but in his eyes, his battle intent never weakened, and he also kept clasping the saber, while the saber essence around him was still strong. The battle was over, but the battle intent remained. Xiao Mang. Jian Wushuang walked to Xiao Mang, and he also showed his admiration for Xiao Mang when he looked at him. However, he told Xiao Mang, in this battle, you are defeated. Defeated? Xiao Mang smiled sadly, then he closed his eyes and kept silent. I want to know why you are so eager to get the Blackwater Lotus and even risk your life to fight with me? Jian Wushuang asked. He was curious. Based on what he knew, the seeds were the most important part of the Blackwater Lotus, while the Black Lotus themselves were not very useful. However, in order to get the Black Lotus, Xiao Mang risked his life to fight with him. The Black Lotus. Xiao Mang reopened his eyes and shook his head, then he said, Swordsman, do you know how long since I reached exceptional gold core realm? Jian Wushuang was astonished and said directly, I have seen your information in the Earth Dragon list. You have long been famous and was listed in the Earth Dragon list 7 years ago. Yes, I was listed in the Earthly Dragon list 7 years ago, but I have reached the Golden Pill Grandmaster for 15 years. Xiao Mang said in a low voice. 15 years. Jian Wushuang was startled. For 15 years, he had been stuck at exceptional gold core realm. 15 years ago, when I reached the exceptional gold core realm, I met a bottleneck and I found that I wasn't able to make breakthrough anymore even though I tried whatever I could. Xiao Mang smiled bitterly. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He also knew that in the way of cultivation, it would be harder and harder to make breakthroughs. For many people, once they met the bottleneck, it was normal for them to stop making further breakthroughs for a long time. What's more, it was nothing new for most of them to stop forever. The exceptional gold core realm and yin-yang void realm were so wide that it was very difficult to cross this bottleneck. Even for such a genius like Xiao Mang, it took him 15 years to be constrained under this bottleneck without making any breakthrough. I'm eager to make a breakthrough and became a legendary yin-yang void realm strongman, but I have hit this bottleneck for too long. I am desperate. However, not long ago, I met an alchemist. The master was well versed in this area and I happened to do him a favor before, so he promised to refine a bottleneck breaking pill for me as long as I could gather enough material. Xiao Mang said. The bottleneck breaking elixir? The warriors of the gold core realm around were all astonished. The bottleneck breaking pill will provide me the chance to cross the bottleneck and make the breakthrough. Though it is not very likely to happen, it's the only hope for me. From that time, I tried whatever I could to gather the materials needed in refining the pill. Xiao Mang continued. I went to many places to gather the materials for a long time and I have gathered most of them. The only thing that I haven't gathered is the Black Lotus. After hearing this, all the warrior of the gold core realm around were clear about his intentions. It turned out that Xiao Mang needed the Black Lotus to refine the bottleneck breaking pill. No wonder he chose to risk his life for the Black Lotus. After hearing this, Jian Wushuang looked strange. He moved his hand, and a black elixir pill appeared on his hand. Is this the bottleneck breaking pill you mentioned? Chapter 115. Chapter 115, Bloodfeather Tower arrives. Amazing. Seeing the black pill that Jian Wushuang took out, everyone around was amazed. Bottleneck breaking pill? Xiao Mang was looking at Jian Wushuang in amazement as well. How could you have it? Don't forget who I am. Jian Wushuang was a bit speechless. The bottleneck breaking pill, an extremely high-grade pill, was not only quite rare and precious. In the whole Tianzong dynasty, alchemists qualified to refine the bottleneck breaking pill were very rare. The bottleneck breaking pill was too difficult to refine, so it was almost extravagant for the average person to have one. But Jian Wushuang was from Dragon Palace, whose secret pavilion collected thousands of treasures. It had all the things that one desired. The bottleneck breaking pill was almost impossible to find. But in Dragon Palace, it would only take 5,000 points to get one. Previously, to break through the bottleneck of his primordial gold core, he purchased 3 bottleneck breaking pills at the secret pavilion. He used 2 of them himself, but there was still one left, the one in his hand. But if Jian Wushuang had known that Xiao Mang fought so hard for the Blackwater Lotus just to refine the bottleneck breaking pill, he would have given it to Xiao Mang. It was unnecessary to fight so fiercely. You are a good man. I'll give you this bottleneck breaking pill. Jian Wushuang passed the bottleneck breaking pill to Xiao Mang. Xiao Mang hesitated somewhat, but he finally accepted it. He looked directly into Jian Wushuang's eyes and said, "Thanks a lot." Jian Wushuang arched an eyebrow and shifted to the front of that big tree. He raised his hand and broke the trunk into pieces, causing the interspatial ring embedded deeply in the trunk to fall into his hand. Blackwater Lotus. Looking at the interspatial ring, Jian Wushuang smiled. "Third brother," said Su Ru, appearing beside Jian Wushuang. "Phew, I was lucky and succeeded," commented Jian Wushuang before passing the interspatial ring to her. Su Ru took it. After binding it, she sensed the Blackwater Lotus in the interspatial ring at once, then a smile appeared on her face. "Thanks a lot, third brother," Su Ru thanked him. Then she extended her hand with a Blackwater Lotus seed in it. Blackwater Lotus seed? Jian Wushuang looked at Su Ru, surprised. He ran to the mountaintop for a fierce fight with Xiao Mang, while at Quiet Moon Lake, those gold core warriors would certainly have fought for the 7 Black Lotus seeds frantically. The competition was bound to be quite fierce. But Jian Wushuang hadn't expected that Su Ru could seize a Blackwater Lotus seed from that group of experts. "Third brother, this Blackwater Lotus seed is for you. I know you still want to grasp sword essence of the water drop. This Black Lotus seed should be able to help you," Su Ru said. "Don't you want it? You also comprehend essence of the water drop?" Jian Wushuang couldn't help but asked. "The Blackwater Lotus is enough for me. This Blackwater Lotus seed is of little use to me," Su Ru said. "That's great." Jian Wushuang didn't refuse. He reached out and accepted the Blackwater Lotus seed. The battle for the Blackwater Lotus is finally over, Jian Wushuang commented while he looked around. Over. It was over. The 7 Blackwater Lotus seeds had found owners, and even the Blackwater Lotus was eventually taken by Jian Wushuang, after a fierce fight. Indeed, the fighting had completely come to an end. Although it was over, the fight today would become a topic that people loved to talk about. It was destined to spread throughout the Tianzong dynasty soon. Meanwhile, the earthly dragon list would certainly alter its rankings. People would also have a deep impression of the name of swordsman and remember the ultimate fight on the mountain near Quiet Moon Lake today. A man in the initial gold core realm, who grasped 3 different sword essences at the same time, defeated Xiao Mang. Such a brilliant record was enough to make the world praise him, making it easy for him to be ranked on the earthly dragon list. However, while people around were still talking about the fight between swordsman and Xiao Mang, an unremarkable skinny man appeared in the crowd. The skinny man only reached the initial gold core realm. He also participated in the fight for the Blackwater Lotus, but only had a mediocre performance. Thus, nobody would notice him. But at this moment, the man was ruthlessly gazing in the direction of Jian Wushuang. A black-robed swordsman. He is only in the initial gold core realm, yet he has grasped 3 different sword essences with an extremely high level of comprehension. Yes, he is Jian Wushuang. The target of the Scarlet Kill Command, Jian Wushuang. After confirmation, the skinny man immediately went to deliver the message. Soon, night fell. Though the moonlight was bright and clear, its light could not reach into the endless mountain range. So it was still dark in there. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A series of dark figures hastily swept through the woods like ghosts. It wasn't long before they reached a forest near Quiet Moon Lake and stopped. All these men were dressed in black robes, wearing masks on their faces. There were 12 of them in total, among whom 10 wore gold masks, while the other 2 wore purple masks. 10 assassins with gold masks and 2 assassins with purple masks. This was the battle formation arranged by Bloodfeather Tower this time. The target is right in front of us, one of the purple-masked assassins spoke in a low voice. Blood Shadow Team 1 and Team 2, you move first. Make sure to find the right opportunity and kill him with 1 hit. Don't make the 2 of us get involved. The 2 purple-masked assassins had some scruples, so they wouldn't move if the circumstances permitted. The 10 gold-masked assassins stood there, cold as ice. Among them, the leader of the gold-masked assassins laughed and said, he is just a disciple of Dragon Palace, in the initial gold core realm. His perception of the realms is higher than an average person, but so what? Blood Shadow Team 1 and Team 2 are moving at the same time, which is already giving him face. As for you 2, please just watch. Darkblader, you'd better not look down on the target. According to the information we received from today's fight over the Blackwater Lotus, he defeated Xiao Mang, who is ranked 22nd on the Earthly Dragon list. Do not forget that Xiao Mang's ranking on the Earthly Dragon list is above you. The purple-masked assassin said in a low voice. So what? The gold-masked assassin, Darkblader, still dismissed it and said, I'm an assassin, so direct slaughter is not my forte. But once I find a chance, even those who rank in the top 10 on the Earthly Dragon list will die, let alone someone ranked 22nd. Darkblader was full of confidence. But he was indeed qualified to say this. Darkblader. He ranked 41st on the Earthly Dragon list. Although his ranking was below 40, his real identity was an assassin of Bloodfeather Tower. As an assassin, when found the right opportunity, he was an extremely terrifying assassin. Anyway, be careful. Don't forget that he is the target of a Scarlet Kill Command, ordered personally by Sir Greyrobe. This time, we must kill him no matter what. If we fail, we will all be executed. The purple-masked assassin had a serious expression. Remember, don't give him a chance. Kill him in 1 hit, and then leave immediately. Go! Once the purple-masked assassin finished speaking, the 10 gold-masked assassins immediately set out. Chapter 116. Chapter 116, A Perfect Assassination. Near Quiet Moon Lake, A charcoal fire was burning brightly and the area was filled with noise. It was near nightfall when the fight for the Blackwater Lotus finished. Therefore, most of the warriors were still here. A number of warriors in the Gold Core realm gathered together in twos or threes, busy talking about the magnificent battle between Jian Wushuang and Xiao Mang. Who is the black-robed swordsman? How does a warrior in the initial Gold Core realm have such terrifying battle strength? His name seems to be Swordsman. It is said that he is a disciple of Dragon Palace. A disciple of Dragon Palace? So that is why he is powerful. Those warriors of the Gold Core realm glanced, from time to time, towards the black-robed adolescent who was practicing his sword skills. The black-robed adolescent brandished his long sword, slowly practicing his sword skills. Seeing one slash followed by another one, people suffered from a delusion that his sword chopping into a pall of cotton instead of the air. Extremely weird. The experts with relatively sharp eyes immediately recognized what was happening. Essence of the water drop. It's essence of the water drop. Swordsman comprehended essence of the water drop. He had already comprehended the sword essences of Gale, Earth, and Raging Fire Sword before. Now, he has comprehended sword essence of the water drop. He has comprehended 4 different essences. Everyone looked at Jian Wushuang with surprise. Exceptional genius. Monster. 4 different sword essences at the same time. Quite brave, isn't he? After a round of loud exclamation, everyone present was astonished. The expressions of the experts from the earthly dragon list were also complex. A man who comprehending 4 essences at the same time should be regarded as crazy rather than courageous. Jian Wushuang actually dared to do it. But it was not impossible for him to comprehend 4 essences at the same time after the awakening of Sword Soul. The 2 assassin teams, called Blood Shadow, were hiding on the top of a big tree near Jian Wushuang while he was practicing. The leader, Darkblader, stared at Jian Wushuang with his dark eyes. Sword essence of the water drop. Darkblader was also surprised. After all, he was informed that Jian Wushuang had comprehended 3 different sword essences, Gale, Earth, and Raging Fire. It's very brave for Jian Wushuang to comprehend 4 sword essences at the same time, Darkblader mocked. He's concentrating right now as he practices his swordsmanship. The possibility of a sneak attack succeeding is very low if I attack now. The best time would be the instant he puts his sword away after finishing his practice. At that moment, his attention and concentration will wander. Those golden-masked assassins were waiting silently. The sword light was fleeting like a wave, soft but tough. One move after another. They looked slow, but every move contained a mighty power. The sword light suddenly stabbed toward the void and engendered a stream of a substantial wave. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and slightly smiled. It's indeed the Blackwater Lotus Seed which induced such a bloody fight. I easily comprehended sword essence of the water drop soon after swallowing it. And my comprehension has even reached the 4th level of the Dragon Gate. To normal warriors of the Gold Core realm, comprehension that reached the 4th level of the Dragon Gate was very high. Even Jian Wushuang barely squeaked through the 4th level by earnestly cultivating for 3 months before joining Dragon Palace. But now his comprehension in sword essence of the water drop easily reached this level because of the Blackwater Lotus Seed. Exhaling a breath, Jian Wushuang put away his sword without realizing the hidden peril that surrounded him. At the same time he was putting away his sword. Now is our chance. The hidden Darkblader silently floated down, like a phantom, towards Jian Wushuang. At this time, Jian Wushuang's expression relaxed. Third brother. Su Ru, who had been watching Jian Wushuang, walked toward him and said, "Congratulations. You have comprehended another sword essence." After congratulating Jian Wushuang on his breakthrough, she suddenly sensed a hint of crisis from her heart. Even the target, Jian Wushuang, didn't sense it, but Su Ru sensed it. Third brother. Watch out. Su Ru shouted suddenly. What? Jian Wushuang became alarmed and all his pores opened in an instant. A sense of unprecedented crisis filled Jian Wushuang. Then a black light emerged silently behind Jian Wushuang with a cold and dark luster. This. It was so fast that Jen Wushuang did not have time to respond. Hair. Comprehend 4 sword essences. So what? Defeated Xiao Mang. So what? You finished your practice just now. Your previous concentration of sense and spirit are wandering. Right now is when you are the most vulnerable. With the darkness as cover, this is the perfect opportunity to assassinate you. It will be a perfect assassination. Even experts ranked in the top 10 on the earthly dragon list would not be able to escape. You will die. Darkblader smiled coldly. At this time, he could see the image of Jen Wushuang being killed by him. However, a swift gust of wind rushed forward, followed by 2 streams of wind passed through the space and appeared in front of him. His black light, which nearly stabbed into Jen Wushuang, was parried by the wind. How could that be? Darkblader was surprised. He had been confident in this assassination. Jen Wushuang was not able to react and was going to die. The truth was that Jen Wushuang didn't react. However, Su Ru made it. Su Ru not only perceived but even parried this killing attack. He realized that terrifying burst of power came from Su Ru. This woman. Darkblader looked at Su Ru in shock. How could she react? Such a perfect assassination. Only an expert in the yin-yang void realm should have been able to respond, so how did she react in time? That cold and dark black light was parried by 2 jets of wind. However, the power of the black light was much stronger, so the wind was easily destroyed. Subsequently, the black light still stabbed toward Jen Wushuang. Thanks to the wind hindering the black light for a while, Jen Wushuang was able to swerve drastically. Watching as this black light approached his body to within less than half a centimeter, his pores immediately opened and cold sweat ran down his back. But in the next moment, an endless anger erupted. Blood Feather Tower. Seeing this gold-masked figure, killing intent poured out from Jen Wushuang's eyes. Go to hell! Boom! After a swift and violent explosion of sword essence, a foggy sword shadow which was extremely aggressive headed for Darkblader. Not good. Darkblader felt a sense of fear in his heart. He was well versed in assassination, he was much weaker in direct combat. Then he quickly parried with the black light. Bang! The terrifying foggy sword shadow pounded on the black light, which was a cold black dagger. But the terrifying power of the attack caused the black dagger to slide out of Darkblader's hand. Many figures rushed towards Jen Wushuang as he attacked Darkblader again, trying to kill him directly. Chapter 117. Chapter 117, Blood Shadow Team. Many ghostly figures rushed towards Jen Wushuang from all directions, with the black sharp edges in their hands aimed at his vital parts, stabbing out at tricky angles. These ghostly figures were the other 9 members of the Blood Shadow team. Although the gold-masked assassins of the 2 teams were not as good as the Darkblader in terms of strength, they were still top-ranked assassins. Most of them had enough strength to assassinate experts on the earthly dragon list. Go to hell! With a heavy outburst, a powerful sword essence was released, and Jen Wushuang lashed out with his triple-kill sword. Sword light passed by silently, but suddenly there were many strange waves rippling in the air. These waves contained terrible impact force, directly spreading out in all directions. Bang! 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 After 9 consecutive loud noises, the 9 gold-masked assassins that had rushed in were all expelled directly and relentlessly. They were knocked several meters away before they finally managed to regain their balance. There was a little shock in the eyes of gold-masked assassins. As gold-masked assassins, especially assassins in the Blood Shadow team, each of them had reached the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. Although they were not as powerful as the experts on the earthly dragon list, they were not far away from them. If it was an assassination, each of them had the strength to assassinate experts on the earthly dragon list. But now, all 9 people were pushed back by Jen Wushuang with only one move. What was this strength? As for the Darkblader, who was the first one knocked back by Jen Wushuang, his dark eyes squinted suddenly, not looking at Jen Wushuang, but Su Ru. He was very clear on how perfect the assassination attempt was just now. Jen Wushuang should have definitely died. But this perfect assassination failed, because of Su Ru. "This woman is weird," said Darkblader in a low voice. Everything happened too fast. Starting with the first attack from Darkblader, then the 9 Goldmasked assassins who were repelled by Jian Wushuang with only one move. In fact, all this happened in a split second. However, many of the warriors beside Quiet Moon Lake did not realize what happened until it was already over. What happened? What a terrifying atmosphere. What's wrong? Swordsman, it's swordsman. Are those gold-masked men from Bloodfeather Tower? It's Bloodfeather Tower, all right. They are gold-masked assassins from Bloodfeather Tower. What's more, there are 10 gold-masked assassins in total. And all of them have come for swordsman. Do people in Bloodfeather Tower want to kill swordsman? There was quite a commotion around the whole Quiet Moon Lake. All the warriors immediately looked there, but they were shocked by what they saw. But there was nothing they could do. Bloodfeather Tower was synonymous with terrible in the Tianzong dynasty. Faced with the top assassin organization in Tianzong dynasty, everyone was afraid. Normally, the people that Bloodfeather Tower wanted to kill would have no chance of surviving. Bloodfeather Tower. There was a heavy killing intent in Jian Wushuang's eyes, but his heart shrank when he looked at all these gold-masked assassins. He knew that since assassins from Bloodfeather Tower were here, it meant that his identity had been exposed. According to the assassination style of Bloodfeather Tower, since they had attacked, they must be prepared. Although the 10 gold-masked assassins in front of him could threaten him, he was sure that this was not all Bloodfeather Tower had prepared. Bloodfeather Tower, how dare you try to assassinate a disciple of Dragon Palace? Are you not afraid that Dragon Palace will seek revenge? Jian Wushuang shouted and his voice spread out over the area. A disciple of Dragon Palace? Is Swordsman really a disciple of Dragon Palace? Just play a joke. He is just an initial completion of the Golden Pill realm with so powerful battle strength that only the eccentric genius of Dragon Palace can do it. All the surrounding warriors were scared, and no one dared to intervene. Bloodfeather Tower? Xiao Mang, who was sitting cross-legged under a big tree, also saw the scene that was occurring beside Quiet Moon Lake. His brows slightly wrinkled, but he immediately shook his head slowly after that. Normally, he might help Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang had given him a bottleneck-breaking pill today, so he felt a great amount of gratitude towards Jian Wushuang that he would not forget. However, his spiritual power had been exhausted in the fight earlier, and he had not recovered enough yet to be able to offer any help. Therefore, Jian Wushuang could only fend for himself. Of course, Jian Wushuang never thought that someone would come to help him. His purpose was merely to spread his identity. That way, regardless of whether he lived or died today, Bloodfeather Tower would suffer the crazy revenge of Dragon Palace later. Dragon Palace put a lot of emphasis on protecting their disciples. Whoever bullied the disciples of Dragon Palace would not have a good ending unless Dragon Palace never knew about it. And Jian Wushuang had shocked the whole Dragon Palace by passing through the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. Now, the 2 palace masters and the temple masters of Dragon Palace thought that Jian Wushuang was an extremely rare genius. Once such a genius was killed, Dragon Palace would feel so much pain that their revenge would be much more malicious. Jian Wushuang, Darkblader said. Today, don't talk about the Dragon Palace. Even the gods can't help you. You will die. Nobody can save you. Come on. Kill him. As his voice faded, Darkblader took the lead, and the 9 gold-masked assassins followed. You. Jian Wushuang smirked and his figure turned ghostly. Chu. A sword shadow appeared silently in front of one of the gold-masked assassins. Without any time for him to respond, in just a blink, this gold-masked assassin was directly killed by the sword edge which passed through his neck. Followed by another ghostly image of Jian Wushuang. Shua. The same silent sword swept past the throat of another gold-masked assassin. What happened? The rest of the gold-masked assassins were shocked. This is... Darkblader also glowered. 2 gold-masked assassins were instantly killed in just a moment, but they did not even see the Jian Wushuang's figure. Fast. He was too fast. Not only the speed of his body, but also the speed of his sword. Formless sword arts, 6th move. The 2 purple-masked assassins, standing side by side on a tree in the forest, gazed intently. Such a large error in the intelligence report. Jian Wushuang is much stronger than reported, and the woman beside him is also weird. She was able to respond to that perfect assassination attempt by Darkblader, murmured a purple-masked assassin. It is too late to talk about that. Now that we have taken action, there is no way out. It is obvious that Darkblader cannot kill Jian Wushuang, so it's up to you, murmured the other purple-masked assassin. If I join in the fight, he will definitely die. The first purple-masked assassin nodded slightly, then his figure direct rushed out. Chapter 118. Chapter 118, Exerting the Utmost Strength. Die. The long sword in Jian Wushuang's hand silently appeared in front of the third gold-masked assassin, and he was directly killed without putting up any resistance. How could that be? How is he so fast? The remaining gold-masked assassins were horrified. They didn't know that Jian Wushuang's comprehension in Sword Essence of Gale was so high that he could execute the sixth move of the formless sword arts. The formless sword arts were known as the top sword skill in the Tianzong dynasty. How could it not be terrifyingly powerful? The sixth move truly was extremely powerful. The sixth move could not be executed in the fight against Xiao Mang because his comprehension of the essence of Gale was deeper. Xiao Mang was also stronger than Jian Wushuang, so this move could not threaten Xiao Mang. However, when Jiang Wushuang used it against these gold-masked assassins, who were not on the earthly dragon list, the formless sword arts could massacre them. These gold-masked assassins had no chance to fight back against the speed released by Jian Wushuang's sword. The fourth one. Jian Wushuang's sword slashed out again. Covering a distance of more than 10 meters instantaneously, the sword pierced the fourth gold-masked assassin's throat. However, after he killed the fourth gold-masked assassin. What? Jian Wushuang lifted his head quickly as a black figure appeared in his sight. The black figure had arrived in front of him in an instant from a distance of more than 10 meters. This speed. Jian Wushuang was surprised upon seeing the black figure's palm that was thrusting towards his head. Jian Wushuang was shocked by the power contained in this palm attack. He would instantly die, without question, if this blow landed on his head. At this critical moment, the triple kill sword in Jian Wushuang's hand directly stabbed through the voice, toward the center of the incoming palm. Bang! The sword edge of the triple kill sword collided with that palm. However, the triple kill sword failed to pierce the palm, and the palm suppressed Jian Wushuang with irresistible and terrifying power. Jian Wushuang felt a mighty force being transmitted through his arm, then he sprayed a jet of blood out of his mouth as his body fiercely shot backward, like a bullet. Bang! Jian Wushuang's figure was knocked back on the ground by more than 10 meters, with the ground cracking as his figure was continued rolling. It did not stop until his body rolled into Quiet Moon Lake. The whole Quiet Moon Lake immediately became still. Everyone looked, their mouths agape, at the black-robed figure hovering in the void. There was a man in a black robe and purple mask. But, the most important part was that he was standing in the air. His identity was instantly clear. Purple-masked assassin. Yin-Yang Void Realm. A purple-masked assassin from Bloodfeather Tower came to kill Jian Wushuang himself. Swordsman is going to die. He is done. Everybody was shocked. There were few experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm in the Tianzong dynasty. It was very unlikely to meet one of these experts. The purple-masked assassin from Bloodfeather Tower was exceedingly more powerful than normal experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. Nobody present thought that Jian Wushuang, merely in the initial Gold Core realm, could still be alive after the attack from the purple-masked assassin. Third brother. Seeing Jian Wushuang slowly sinking into Quiet Moon Lake, Suru's beautiful expression grew hideous and her killing intent burst out. You will die. Staring at the purple-masked assassin, a blast of air surged from Suru's body. Suru had released this wind several times, but this time was the strongest. This terrifying wind astonished the purple-masked assassin, and he instantly looked at Suru. This girl, seeing the increasingly terrifying wind that was released by Suru, the purple-masked assassin's mouth twitched. He felt that Suru was incredibly dangerous. Suru coldly stared at the purple-masked assassin, and a cold voice emerged from her. Asshole. Go die. The huge sword was slashed out. Swoosh. The great sword was outclassing over and it was easy to pass through the void so that there was an awkward windbreak in the air. The sturdy sword edge also swept from the ground and crashed. The ground suddenly cracked. A large crack that is more than 2 meters wide. An enormous power soared into the sky with an overwhelming aura. Gathering his look, he became careful. The purple-masked killer clenching his right hand, the spiritual power burst out. Without hesitation, a fist was shaken with angry, and when it came out, a crisp explosion from his body also rang through the world. Bang! After the collision between them, the purple-masked assassin groaned and his body immediately flew backwards, crashing into a large tree that was tens of meters away. Crack! Apparently, the tree could not bear the terrifying force, so it directly splintered. This stream of power, looking at his still tingling palms, the purple-masked assassin looked at Su-Ru in a different way. The girl is from that place. I cannot kill her. After exerting her strongest move, the aura of Su-Ru's body had already begun to diminish. There was also sweat on her beautiful face. Obviously, she did not have enough force to attack again. However, while clenching her jaw, Su-Ru still stared at the purple-masked assassin. I don't dare to kill you. The purple-masked assassin shook his head. Without any thoughts of tangling with Su-Ru, his figure flew out and appeared over Quiet Moon Lake. As for Su-Ru, all she could do was watch him. Third brother. Staring at the lake surface, Su-Ru began trembling. Jian Wushuang had disappeared and the surface of the lake was placid. In Quiet Moon Lake, Jian Wushuang was surrounded with endless lake water as his eyes opened. A load of blood surged from his mouth. Compared with Gold Core Realm warriors, experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm were much stronger. A mere palm attack was enough to seriously injure him. He even felt like his internal organs had been completely rearranged. He was in extreme pain. It was all he could do to face that attack one time. If it came again, he would definitely die. I was sure that they would not send only 10 gold-masked assassins since Bloodfeather Tower wants to kill me. And I was right. But it was beyond my expectation that Bloodfeather Tower would send a purple-masked assassin to kill a warrior in the initial Gold Core realm. Although Jian Wushuang was seriously injured, the battle intent in his eyes was still powerful. This time, I will use my full strength. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands and his eyes blinked with a vestige of insanity. Soul devouring. Secret skill. Quiet Moon Lake quaked. Jian Wushuang's body seemed to be a black hole that could devour everything as a stream of natural power from all things of the universe rushed into his body at an amazing speed. With the natural power being injected, Jian Wushuang's aura began to soar. It had been 1 year, now Jian Wushuang was executing the soul-devouring secret skill again. He was in a desperate fight. Chapter 119. Chapter 119. Boom, boom, boom. 2 meters above Quiet Moon Lake, a purple-masked assassin was floating and looking down with cold eyes. Is he dead? The lake was quiet but Jian Wushuang had already sunk into it. However, suddenly, in the center of Quiet Moon Lake, a huge whirlpool took shape and began rapidly expanding to swallow the whole lake, which made the Great Lake crazily stir. Beep, beep, beep. The sound of stirring water was spread through the area like a windstorm generating in the center of the lake. What happened? What on earth happened? What's the whirlpool? Standing beside Quiet Moon Lake, a great many warriors of the Gold Core realm were astonished. Look at the ground. When that sudden cry sounded, those warriors looked down at the ground right away. However, what they saw made their hair stand on end. At this moment, the vibrant earth was turning into a bleak one at an amazingly fast speed. The original deep green was gradually changing into a dry yellow. On top of that, there were even cracks slowly appearing on the ground. Dull. Silent. Everyone was frightened. While watching what was happening around Quiet Moon Lake, the purple-masked assassin above the lake became Daw and then his eyes flashed with killing intent. Whatever he is doing, I will kill him. The purple-masked assassin reached out his right hand and heavily slapped toward the center of the whirlpool. A magnificent spiritual power was released. In an instant, a massive palm, totally generated by spiritual power, appeared on the lake. The palm seemed to arrive from ancient times, exuding a very horrible smell. Hum. The purple-masked assassin hummed as his massive palm, like a small mountain, dove toward the core of the whirlpool, slowly exerting its power. Warriors beside the quiet moon lake couldn't help holding their breath when they saw that massive palm. But at that moment, whoosh! Suddenly, a cold sword light rose from quiet moon lake as it slowly magnified in their eyes, rushing upward. Immediately, the whole area became thoroughly dark. Only that sword light remained in the vast and extremely dark void. The sword light was ice-cold, dazzling, and destructive. After abruptly rising from the bottom of quiet moon lake, the sword light rushed toward the sky and instantly struck against the massive palm. The sword light pierced into the center of the palm. Bang! An ear-splitting boom reverberated through the void. Two kinds of horrible strength directly struck against each other, which immediately generated many tangible airflows. Then, those airflows were transformed into a blast wave that swept out in a destructive manner. Tilde. It was just like a star exploding. The horrible blast wave crazily rushed out in all directions. At that moment, the wave blew every warrior of the Gold Core realm who stood by quiet moon lake hither and thither. Worse still, some of them directly spit blood and retreated. The mass of trees growing by the lake was also swept away by the blast wave, many of which were instantly uprooted, while some of them directly broke at the base of their trunks. The heaven and earth were in ruin and it seemed to be the end of the world. How did this happen? That purple-masked assassin was totally astonished, looking at the soaring sword light in amazement. It seemed to be all-conquering as it directly pierced into the center of the massive palm. A terrible piercing force violently radiated from the sword light. Within just a moment, the massive palm which he displayed with all his strength was directly split. After that, the sword edge swept out, shredding the palm into pieces. Swoosh! Even after splitting the massive palm, the sword light still rushed toward the sky with rolling sword essence. And then, following that, bang! A massive spray of water abruptly gushed out from the bottom of quiet moon lake, and then a black figure directly rushed upward with an arrogant sword essence and an incredibly terrifying aura. In the next moment, he had already appeared in front of the purple-masked assassin. Old bastard! You enjoyed it, didn't you? Jian Wushuang calmly looked at the purple-masked assassin. Although the assassin's appearance could not be seen clearly, Jian Wushuang could infer that he was an old guy by his figure and voice. The purple-masked assassin had not completely recovered from his astonishment. Now, it's my turn. Jian Wushuang's cold grin resembled that of a blade. Jian Wushuang didn't show his sword arts. Instead, he sheathed his triple-kill sword. Then, just using his fists, he began directly punching towards the purple-masked assassin's face. Boom! The outburst of terrifying power made a fearsome wind sound when Jian Wushuang waved his fist through the air. After all, Jian Wushuang was currently using the soul-devouring secret skill. By devouring nature and absorbing the natural power in the area for hundreds of meters, his spiritual power was pushed to the peak of the exceptional Gold Core realm. But he possessed a supreme Gold Core, which was 100 times stronger than an expert in the same realm. After a complete outburst, his strength settled at the peak of the exceptional Gold Core realm. The strength that radiated out was much more terrifying than the average yin-yang void realm. You must want to go to the hell. Seeing Jian Wushuang directly use his fist, without any sword skills, the purple-masked killer raged and used his fist, releasing the peak of his strength. At that moment, two fists were rushing towards a head-on collision. Crack! Only the sound of bones cracking was heard. Then, in the next moment, the purple-masked assassin uttered a grievous cry. My arm! Staring with extreme rage in his eyes, the purple-masked assassin was aware that the bones in his right arm were completely shattered. His right arm had been disabled in this head-on, fist-to-fist, battle. It is you that will go to the hell, Jian Wushuang thundered again and then immediately kicked towards him. The purple-masked assassin was unable to make any response, heavily falling on the ground and instantly creating a 1-meter depth hole with his falling force. Afterwards, the killer simply laid in the hole while blood leaked from his mouth. It was uncertain whether he was dead or not. Dull. All the warriors around Quiet Moon Lake were dull. What did they just witness? A warriors of the Gold Core realm defeating a supreme expert in the real Yin-Yang Void realm, even beating him until he was almost dead in an instant. Furthermore, he didn't use his sword. With a distorted face and bloodshot eyes, Jian Wushuang was dying to thoroughly kill the purple masked assassin who lay in the deep hole with an unknown lifespan remaining. However, a frightening aura swept through the area, indicating that there was another purple masked assassin. All the warriors in the area stared with wide eyes when they saw it. Another purple masked assassin? Chapter 120. Chapter 120, The Line Between Death and Life. Chu. A cold black light rushed toward Jian Wushuang as a terrifying aura directly locked onto him. Naturally, it was from the second purple masked assassin. This purple masked assassin had been hiding in the dark. He did not intend to show himself, but he never expected that things would go this way. Two teams of the Blood Shadow had joined the fight. Jian Wushuang killed 4 of them in only a moment, but the Blood Shadow teams had not even managed to touch his shadow. Then the first purple masked assassin had fought against Jian Wushuang in person. The result was that he was defeated and sprawled out in a huge hole near Jian Wushuang. It was even uncertain whether he was alive or dead. He had no choice but to show himself. One more. Get lost. Jian Wushuang roared and angrily hacked his triple kill sword toward the second purple masked assassin with a steam of scorching and fiery sword essence of raging fire. Sword skill of blood and fire, the 6th move. That cold black light also rushed toward the second purple masked assassin. Bang! Jian Wushuang could not help stumbling back several steps, as did the purple masked assassin. The strength of the second purple masked assassin is much stronger than that of the first one. Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Warriors of the Gold Core realm had differences between strong and weak, so did warriors of the Yin-Yang Void realm. The same situation was true for those purple masked assassins. The second purple masked assassin's strength was much stronger than that of the first purple masked assassin who was pulverized by Jian Wushuang. Go to hell! Again, that purple masked assassin stabbed out ferociously with his black dagger. It seemed that the stab could pierce through the heavens, and a cacophony resounded through the void. Ridiculous! With a sneer, Jian Wushuang waved his triple kill sword and slashed out directly with a strong burst of sword essence of gale. But the speed of his sword was faster than that of the black dagger in the purple masked assassin's hand. Clang! The sparks made by the clashing of the two blades was very showy in the night sky. Jian Wushuang moved his wrist and the long sword flexibly bypassed the black dagger. Then, while radiating sword essence of earth, he hacked out his sword. Obviously, the purple masked assassin was battle-hardened. Without any panic, he waved his black dagger forward angrily. Bang! With another low and deep sound, the heavy and vast sword essence of earth released a huge amount of power. In addition, the power released from the soul-devouring secret skill, executed by Jian Wushuang, far exceeded that of common warriors in the Yin-Yang Void realm. As these two huge powers contained in the Jian Wushuang's sword move crashed against that black dagger, the purple masked assassin became nervous. However, in the place where two sword edges clashed, a wave-like essence spread out. This wave was the impact force from the clash between the two blades. And, although it was not worth mentioning to Jian Wushuang and that purple masked assassin, the blast wave generated right in front of the purple masked assassin, so it naturally reached his face first. Bang! As soon as the blast wave struck that assassin's purple mask, this wicked and frightening purple mask cracked directly in front of everyone. When the mask cracked and broke away from his face, a pretty and refined face appeared, but this face was hideous at this moment. It's you. When Jian Wushuang saw this face, a sharp light suddenly flashed in his eyes. Most warriors of the Gold Core realm near Quiet Moon Lake also saw this face, and some of them recognized him with a single glance. It's him. Lin Yun. It's Lord Lin Yun. It really Lord Lin Yun? Lin Yun, the governor of Blizzard City? Many warriors of the Gold Core realm who recognized his face felt it was unbelievable. Lin Yun, it's you. Jian Wushuang was surprised too. He happened to have met Lin Yun once at the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace in Moonheart City. At that time, Lin Yun gave people the impression of gentleness, elegance, and courtesy. With such a good reputation, he seemed to be a good person, 100%. Nearly everyone who knew Lin Yun respected him very much. But who could have thought that such a good person was a purple-masked assassin from Bloodfeather Tower? You hid so deeply, Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. At this moment, Lin Yun's face was hideous instead of gentle. Damn it! Lin Yun cursed secretly in his heart. The reason why he did not show himself before was that he was afraid of exposing his identity. He did not intend to appear and help kill Jian Wushuang unless he had no choice. But he had never thought the battle strength which Jian Wushuang released would be so strong. Now, his identity was exposed in front of so many people. Regardless of whether he killed Jian Wushuang or not today, he no longer had a place to return to in the Qianzong dynasty. Because, regardless of the risks, Dragon Palace would kill him. Now that my identity has been exposed, I just need to focus on killing him first. Lin Yun's eyes were full of killing intent. Then, a moment later, a lavender long spear appeared in his hand. This long spear was his real weapon. He only used the black dagger to hide his identity. Go to hell! Lin Yun instantly made his move, his body appearing in front of Jian Wushuang in the blink of an eye, as he directly thrust out his lavender long spear. Without any sound, this stab was just like a flickering serpent's tongue. Jian Wushuang only felt his body was locked in place. When this silent spear stabbed towards him, he had no way to avoid it at all. Essence of the water drop. Has Lin Yun's comprehension in essence of the water drop reached such a high level? Jian Wushuang was frightened. Just now, when Lin Yun used that black dagger to attack, he employed essence of gale. Although his comprehension was rather high, Jian Wushuang could handle it. But now Lin Yun was using the long spear with essence of the water drop, which was terrible. This spear can absolutely pass the 11th level of the Dragon Gate easily. It was even close to the 12th level. Jian Wushuang instantly executed the reincarnation sword art in an attempt to block this move. Although he turned back one spear, with another burst of strength, Lin Yun's spear shadows rushed towards Jian Wushuang successively, one by one. Clang! 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 Jian Wushuang did his utmost to fight against Lin Yun, but in his heart he had already lost the intent to fight. After all, what he had executed was the soul-devouring secret skill. The soul-devouring secret skill was terrifying, but it was a unique skill that came with a price. Using it caused great damage to himself as well as his opponent. Therefore, Jian Wushuang could not last much longer. The sharp pain in his body meant that he had reached the limit. Not only that, Jian Wushuang's eyes were red and tendons stood out on his forehead. Obviously, he was very close to his breaking point. Boom! A vast sword shadow directly pushed Lin Yun back, then Jian Wushuang turned around and ran away. Run! 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 Jian Wushuang was crazily roaring in his heart. However, the direction he ran was exactly towards the area where Su Ru and the gold-masked assassins stood. Third brother, Su Ru looked at Jian Wushuang with concern on her face. Jian Wushuang was exhausted both mentally and physically, but when he saw 6 living gold-masked assassins directly ahead of him, the killing intent in his eyes was rapidly increased again. Chapter 121, The Roar from the Abyss. Chapter 121, The Roar from the Abyss. All of you can go to hell. With a thundering sound, Jian Wushuang suddenly flitted past those 6 gold-masked assassins like a ghost. Before these 6 golden-masked killers, including Darkblader, head of them, could make a response, their throats felt stung and then there disappeared both their sound and breath. While Jian Wushuang was using the soul-devouring secret skill, he almost beat the purple-masked assassin to death. Killing these gold-masked assassins was very easy for him. Do you think you can escape? Lin Yun took a deep breath and looked at his black robe. Then he chased after Jian Wushuang. As for the loss of those gold-masked assassins, it was not important to him. After killing those 6 gold-masked assassins, Jian Wushuang fled into the woods. But Lin Yun appeared above the woods, standing in the air. One was standing in midair while the other was fleeing through the woods in a rushed manner, using the trees to hide his presence. Those two terrifying auras moved off into the distance. Near Quiet Moon Lake, a lot of warriors in the Gold Core realm watched what was happening. The events they just witnessed had caused huge waves in their hearts. What did they just see? A total of 10 gold-masked assassins came to kill swordsmen, but all of them were killed. Not a single one of them was left alive. Then a purple-masked assassin appeared and fought against Jian Wushuang in person, but the result was that he was defeated and currently sprawled out in a huge pit on the ground. It was still unclear if he was alive or dead. What had caused the land within a few hundred meters to dry out, become brown, and lose its vitality so easily? Then, a second purple-masked assassin appeared, Lin Yun, who was, in fact, the governor of Blizzard City. Like a bomb, these scenes were exploding in the minds of these warriors, leaving them deep in thought. There was no way. So amazing. Each scene was unbelievably amazing. Even now, Lin Yun was still chasing after swordsmen. Hurry up. Let's follow them. Hurry up and follow. Let's watch and see if swordsmen can escape. Haha, what an unprecedented battle. It was far more exciting than the battle with Xiao Mang. Hurry up so we can go. A large number of warriors were suddenly storming out, chasing after Jian Wushuang and Lin Yun as if they were the tide. Wushuang, please run faster and escape. Please. Su Ru was praying and clenching her beautiful hands as she rushed to the forefront. In a forest. Swoosh. Terrifying spear shadows bombarded towards Jian Wushuang like thunderbolts, as he shifted his body so fast that the spears struck the tree he was standing on instead. The overwhelming power of the attack caused the big tree, together with others around it, to splinter. His face was red, and the tendons stood out under his skin, but a strong desire for survival could still be seen in Jian Wushuang's eyes. I still have the chance to survive. There is still a chance. Raising his head, Jian Wushuang fixed his eyes steadfastly on a majestic mountain that was not far away, behind which the abyss was located. It was recognized as the most dangerous area in the endless mountain range. The abyss may be a dead end for others, but for him it was the last chance at survival. Jian Wushuang was crazily roaring in his heart, hold on, hold on. After he stopped using the soul-devouring secret skill, his aura had declined. But the damage caused by the incredibly overwhelming increase in power from using the skill was beginning to show. He felt like his internal organs were burning along with an unprecedented anguish. The pain was too strong and sharp for an ordinary person to bear, even for those experts of the yin-yang void realm, who were tremendously frightening. Clenching his teeth and hands, Jian Wushuang focused on keeping himself lucid. His fingernails were already digging into his flesh as he used his last bit of strength to stagger towards the abyss. He eventually made it to the top of the majestic mountain, in front of the abyss that lay between the two mountains. Not until he had arrived did he stop moving. Whoosh. But Lin Yun also arrived, staring at Jian Wushuang with his cold eyes. There were also many warriors following after him, all of which had eyes that were fixed on Jian Wushuang. They all wore complicated expressions that seemed to express their size, pity, and mercy above all. Everyone was well aware that Jian Wushuang had been driven into a corner. Behind him was the abyss, which could frighten anyone. In front of his stood Lin Yun, a legendary expert in the yin-yang void realm. He had no chances left. 10 gold-masked assassins together with 2 purple-masked assassins formed this group, which was enough to kill an expert of the yin-yang void realm. As a kid in the initial Gold Core realm, you should be proud to die at the hands of our Blood Feather Tower, Lin Yun said while staring at Jian Wushuang with his cold eyes. All that remains is for you to obediently accept your death. Lin Yun was approaching Jian Wushuang as he spoke. Jian Wushuang felt something surge into his throat, then he coughed up a mouthful of blood. After wiping the blood from his mouth, he looked at Lin Yun, who was closing in on him. His lips were fraught with a strange smile. Do you think you can kill me by yourself? Ha 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 ha. Jian Wushuang burst into mad, almost hysterical, laughter. My life can be taken by heaven, earth, or anyone else. But the people from Blood Feather Tower, only you will never be allowed to kill me. After saying that, Jian Wushuang glanced towards everyone present. Then he stepped back, rushed towards the abyss, and jumped in. In an instant, Jian Wushuang was overwhelmed by the cold wind from the abyss. But he roared at it, full of unyielding will, growling at the heaven and earth. Even if a dragon rises out of the blue sea, I would have no good feelings for Wu Tai. The day I return is the day all you demons die. If I live through this, I definitely turn Bloodfeather Tower upside down when I come back. His shout roared out, resonation with the abyss so much that it reverberated through the endless sky, leaving a lasting echo. Even the sky was shaking. It resonated with the land. All of heaven and earth was in shock. A number of warriors gathered near the abyss. They were pale at the moment because they could constantly hear the echoing of Jian Wushuang's words in their mind. The day I return is the day all you demons die. At that moment, everyone stopped breathing and fell into deep silence. Will he really come back? One of the warriors muttered. There was an old burly man standing next to him who shook his head and said, if he dies, then everything will end here. But, if there is a day where he really does return, I am afraid that Bloodfeather Tower will come to an end. Chapter 122 – Insane Retaliation. Chapter 122 – Insane Retaliation. Silent, the whole abyss was full of dead silence. Lin Yun stepped forward and slowly walked toward the abyss. Overlooking the deep abyss, his eyes were cold. The abyss, her. Falling into the abyss is a death trap, even for me, let alone for you. You want to survive this? And come back? So stupid and naive. Lin Yun snorted. He didn't care about what Jian Wushuang had said at all. Lin Yun, a cold voice suddenly spoke. Lin Yu was filled with doubt. He turned and saw a terrifying aura radiating from the black-robed girl Su Ru. Her beautiful and breathtaking eyes were frozen at that moment. Tell your master, Su Ru said coldly, with a slightly trembling voice, from today on, Bloodfeather Tower will have no peace. Lin Yun's expression darkened. Anyone else who said that would have instantly been killed by Lin Yun, but this was Su Ru. Bloodfeather Tower was a powerful group, but that was only in the Qianzong dynasty. There was a vast world outside of the Qianzong dynasty, in which there were many powers that were stronger than Bloodfeather Tower. After seeing that special aura that radiated from her, he had a faint speculation about who she was. Therefore, he dared not kill her. Even so, he didn't care too much about what she had just said. Su Ru really had a very strong background. However, the background of Bloodfeather Tower was not that simple, was it? I will wait and see, said Lin Yun. Then he turned to leave. After Lin Yun left, the area around the abyss fell into an uproar. The next day, news about 2 summit battles at Quiet Moon Lake quickly blew through the whole Qianzong dynasty like a hurricane. People in Qianzong dynasty were shocked. The Gladiator Arena, the top chamber of commerce in Qianzong dynasty, had compiled a Millennium Chronicle since long ago. It recorded every influential event that happened in the Qianzong dynasty for nearly 1,000 years. It was on that day, one more event was recorded in the Millennium Chronicle. Near Quiet Moon Lake, 2 summit battles happened. It not only recorded the battle for the Blackwater Lotus in detail, but also the fight that happened that night. The focus for both battles was one person, Swordsman. In the Millennium Chronicle, this is what was written about Swordsman. Swordsman, a warrior of the initial Gold Core realm and an exceptional genius who grasped 3 sword essences to an extremely high level at the same time. In the battle for the Blackwater Lotus, he fought with Xiao Mang, who ranked 22nd on the Earthly Dragon list. Finally, Xiao Mang was defeated. That night, 10 Gold Master Assassins and 2 Purple Master Assassins launched a lightning-fast assassination attempt. In the end, all 10 Gold Core Assassins died. The right hand of a Purple Masked Assassin was broken, straddling the line between life and death. Another Purple Masked Assassin, Lin Yun, gave chase to finish killing Swordsman. At that point, Swordsman had no choice but to jump into the abyss. A genius fell. Sadly. Unfortunately. In the Millennium Chronicle of the Gladiator Arena, Jian Wushuang was highly praised as a peerless genius. But unfortunately, he was forced to jump into the abyss. In everyone's opinion, falling into the abyss meant death. A large number of warriors in Tianzong dynasty felt sorry about that. At the same time, what Jian Wushuang said when he jumped into the abyss also spread throughout Tianzong dynasty. The day I return is the day all you demons die. Many people were shocked by his words and felt sorry for him. Some young men who had ambitions were greatly inspired when they heard that. They even hoped that one day Jian Wushuang would return with his sword and kill all the bad men. Over at Dragon Palace. Boom. A terrifying aura was rising, while at the same time a thick stream of killing intent radiated out. Palace Master White, a beauty in white, stood in the air over Dragon Palace. Her eyes were burning with anger. All the temple masters of Dragon Palace, come out. The loud voice echoed, shocking the whole Dragon Palace. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Figures swiftly appeared from all the nooks of Dragon Palace. They all used Void Walk and quickly gathered beside Palace Master White. As soon as the temple masters of Dragon Palace arrived and saw Palace Master White emitting such a strong killing intent from her eyes, they couldn't help shivering. "Sister White, what happened?" said Palace Master Black, who also came to her. "I have just heard news that swordsman died," Palace Master White said coldly. "What? Swordsman? That little guy?" Suddenly, a heated discussion began around her. The temple masters did not look good. Swordsman, a peerless genius. All the temple masters were shocked by Jian Wushuang's talent and huge potential when he passed through the 11th level of the Dragon Gate not long ago. Palace Master Black even boldly asserted that Jian Wushuang's talent was no less than Crazy Knife's, who was the strongest on the Heavenly Dragon list for decades. It does not need to be said how important this was. Dragon Palace thought highly of such a peerless genius. Even a few days ago, the two palace masters and other temple masters carefully discussed how to cultivate swordsmen in the future when they discussed official business. But now, before they could cultivate him according to their plan, they heard that swordsman died. How could they be not shocked? How could? The ones who killed swordsman came from Bloodfeather Tower. Palace Master White suddenly raised her head and said coldly, "Bloodfeather Tower? Is it them? Damn it, they dare to assassinate our disciples." The temple masters were unable to restrain their fury. Both Golden Dragon Palace and Bloodfeather Tower were powerful forces in Tianzong dynasty. The core of Golden Dragon Palace was Dragon Palace. Usually they did not interfere with each other, and Bloodfeather Tower had never deliberately killed a disciple of Dragon Palace before. But this time they did it. Not just a normal disciple of Dragon Palace, they killed the most talented and excellent genius of this year's disciples. A peerless genius who they all had high expectations for. Assassinating disciples of Dragon Palace is a direct provocation towards Dragon Palace. Swordsman, the strongest genius in Dragon Palace this year, with a chance at becoming someone as strong as Crazy Knife, or to even reach a higher level. However, Bloodfeather Tower killed him. An exceptional genius is gone. Palace Master White's face was cold and the killing intent that surged from her was almost sharp enough to be used as a weapon. Palace Master White was the one with the highest expectations for Jian Wushuang. Even before he passed through the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. She even sought Jian Wushuang out in person when she thought he was headed down the wrong path. However, when she discovered that Jian Wushuang was correct, she was so surprised and happy for him. And she was also the saddest when she heard that Jian Wushuang died. "It seems our Dragon Palace has been low-key for too long," said Temple Master Yarrow of Fire Temple, whose eyes were frightening. An exceptional genius of Dragon Palace was killed. "We will be a joke in Tianzong dynasty if we pretend that we don't know. Nothing to say, we have to get revenge. Yes, we have to get revenge and teach them a painful lesson." Soon Palace Master White led many experts of Dragon Palace and took action. Going through the whole Tianzong dynasty, a bloody revenge towards Bloodfeather Tower took place. Chapter 123 Ancestors' Land. Chapter 123 Ancestors' Land. After receiving the message that Jian Wushuang had passed away, both the senior leaders of Dragon Palace and his friends were furious. In a room of the manor where Jian Wushuang lived in. Bang! Wang Yuan pounded a table and the burst of his spiritual power immediately shattered the table. At the same time, waves of air rapidly swept through the surroundings. Third brother. How could he have died? Wang Yuan's fat body was trembling slightly. With rage in his eyes, his seemingly funny face had already become hideous. Danju! Wang Yuan shouted suddenly. Whoosh! A purple figure appeared in the room and stood in front of Wang Yuan respectfully. It was obvious that this man in purple didn't come from Dragon Palace. However, he had been staying in Dragon Palace this whole time and the experts of Dragon Palace had no idea about it. Young master. The purple figure, Danju, called. I want to make the top assassin organization of Qianzong Dynasty, Bloodfeather Tower, disappear completely. Are there any problems with that? Wang Yuan looked at Danju coldly. Bloodfeather Tower? Danju frowned slightly. Young master, Qianzong Dynasty is beyond our control. I don't care about this. I only want to know, can you do it or not? Wang Yuan shouted in a deep voice. Yes. Danju nodded decisively. Then do what I say. Wang Yuan shouted angrily again. Yes. Danju left immediately. Bloodfeather Tower. My third brother. Wang Yuan clasped his hands, but in the next moment he became quiet. In the cellar of a Golden Dragon subsidiary palace in Tiannan province. Third brother died. He jumped into the abyss because Bloodfeather Tower was chasing him. Wearing a blood-red robe and carrying a blood-red saber, Yang Zixuan got so angry after receiving the news that his killing intent immediately burst out and soared to the sky. Give me all the information you have on Bloodfeather Tower. Yang Zixuan shouted. Yes. The person in charge of this Golden Dragon subsidiary palace took the order immediately. Bloodfeather Tower, there was a tremendous cold light in his eyes. From now on, there is only one goal for my enhancement. To kill all the assassins in Bloodfeather Tower, in a secret chamber. The black-robed girl, Su Ru, looked coldly towards a golden paper that was in her hand. The paper was being burned using spiritual power. After the paper was completely burnt, an obscure figure appeared in front of Su Ru. Master. Su Ru's voice was small and awed. Little Ru, what happened? The obscure figure said gently. Master, one of my elder brothers died. Su Ru said. Oh, tell me about it. The obscure figure asked. Su Ru did not waste time, briefly telling him what happened. After she finished speaking. So you want to take revenge for him, right? Asked the obscure figure. Yes. Su Ru nodded slightly. You used to be gentle, but now you are surrounded by killing intent. It's apparent that you valued your brother a lot in your heart. The obscure figure smiled and said, I'll let a group of guards come and listen to you. From now on they will stay with you to protect you. I appreciate it a lot. Su Ru said gratefully. The obscure figure smiled and then became a cloud of smoke and disappeared. The revenge of Dragon Palace against Bloodfeather Tower began quickly and swiftly, leaving no breathing space. While Bloodfeather Tower was frantically fending off the attacks of Dragon Palace, they discovered that there were two more terrifying forces, besides Dragon Palace, who also launched offensives against them. For a time, the top assassin organization of Qianzong Dynasty, Bloodfeather Tower, was teetering on the edge. And all of this resulted from one person, Jian Wushuang. The entire Qianzong Dynasty was shaken by Jian Wushuang. However, at the same time, at the bottom edge of the abyss, a platform, completely paved with bluestone floors, was surrounded by a few clusters of flames. Jian Wushuang was lying on this platform. Though all his internal organs were damaged, and there were some fractures in his bones, he still had a trace of life. His consciousness had long been in a blur, and in this ambiguity, he vaguely heard the voices near him. Initial Gold Core Realm? With such a realm, he dared to enter the ancestors' land? It was clearly a female's voice. Big sister, don't you realize that this little guy's appearance is very similar to the one who came here a few years ago? Another voice sounded, but it was a man's hoarse voice. You meant Jian Nantian? When entering here, Jian Nantian had already reached the peak of the exceptional Gold Core realm and possessed an amazing sense of sword essence. He also passed the first test directly, which was much better than this guy. This little guy is not even qualified for the first of the 3 tests of the ancestors' land. If it was not for the completely awakened sword soul in him, I really want to throw him out now and let him fend for himself. The woman said. Then what do you want to do now? The man asked. Serve him with a heart-recovering pill and then take him to the sword tomb. Shut him in there for 2 years. Alive or dead? It rests on himself. The woman said. Yes, said the man. Later, Jian Wushuang was aware that someone came to him and picked him up. With this pressure and the colliding of his bones, a sudden surge of pain caused him to fall into a coma completely. It had already been 3 days since Jian Wushuang regained consciousness. In a deserted and vast open space, Jian Wushuang casually lay on the ground. He opened his eyes slowly, but the void he saw was a dark one, without any light. He slowly lifted his fingers, then he pinched hard on his own cheeks. Immediately, there was a burning pain in his cheeks. The pain is real. It seems that I am not dead yet. Jian Wushuang smiled brightly. He knew it. The abyss was a death trap for others, but not necessarily for him. When he completed his enhancement in the endless mountain range, he sensed a peculiar summons and came to the abyss. At that time, he was curious about the abyss, and he even guessed that the abyss was the ancestors' land that his aunt had mentioned before. The dialogue between the 2 people that he heard during his confusion had proven it. Underneath the abyss was indeed the ancestors' land. The ancestors' land would exclude all outsiders, but it would not exclude him because he had already awakened the sword soul and owned the triple kill sword. Well, weird, my body. Jian Wushuang moved his body slightly, but he felt strange. He had exerted all his power into operating the soul-devouring secret skill, and he knew its side effect. Not to mention that this time he used it while seriously injured. It would do more harm to him and it should take him 10 to 15 days to recover. But now, the injuries he suffered had almost recovered during his 3 days in a coma. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,